What's up, everybody, man? Welcome back. Apple just had its September event, and you know, with every September event, Apple announces a whole list of new iPhones. However, the iPhone Air, that was one that definitely caught my eye, and I believe that that is going to be the future of iPhone. Let's talk about it. Now, if you're new here, my name is Sean Hughes. I do tech reviews, but I'm also a product manager, so anytime I see a new product release, my product mind goes into thinking. And when I heard about the iPhone Air, when I seen the iPhone Air drop, I realized that that is what Apple has been working towards for probably the last decade. And the reason being is when they all decided that they needed to start producing their own chips. Now, Apple has been trying to produce its own chips, but the reason why they started doing that was because of an issue that they faced way down the line. You see, back when Apple started doing their own products, they relied on IBM and Motorola, and while they loved those chips, they wasn't producing enough innovation fast enough, and ultimately that led to a lot of bottlenecks and a lot of frustrations within Apple. So then fast forward, Apple decides, okay, we need to find a new person to supply our chips. So then, boom, here comes Intel. Intel is now the person that survives all their chips, which is why we famously or recently know Intel-based Macs versus the Silicon Macs. Apple ran into the same issue that they had with IBM and Motorola, which was they wasn't being innovative or providing enough updates fast enough, which means that they always had to wait until Intel decided to update their chips. If Intel doesn't update their chips, Apple doesn't update their chips, and they can't produce better phones, faster phones, more efficient phones, because they have to rely on Intel. So they decided they was going to do their own chips. So knowing that they have a problem, they decided to form their own chips, which is why in 2010 we got the first A-series chip, the A4, which came out in the iPhone and the iPad of that year. And ever since then, we've having A-series chips in our phones since then. And not only that, but Apple recently in 2020, I believe, they dropped their M-series chips for Macs. So M1, M2, M3, M4 are the chip series that are in our Macs and our MacBooks, and which allows Apple to have better integration between the software and the hardware, which has led to more power efficiency, better battery life, and just overall better innovation within Apple without having to rely on a third party for that. So what does that mean for Apple, and why is the iPhone Air the most important product for them? I think the decades of innovation that they have been chasing has all led up to this. Always trying to have their own in-house chip so that way they can decide how innovative they want to be. They don't have to wait on anybody else, has led them to be able to produce a phone that's this thin. They use that plateau that they talked about in their keynote speakers to put a lot of these chips and a lot of the phone in. So just think, next year when they decide to have the iPhone Air and the iPhone Pro Air, whatever, or more Air, whatever they decide to call it, and now that I think about it, wrong, I could see next year is just iPhone and iPhone Pro. And they drop whatever the name is, and it's just for the year, right? I could see them having it like iPhone 26 or iPhone 27, and they kind of move it with the thing. But that's just me rambling. That's neither here nor there. Getting back to why I think it's the most important thing, I think it forces Apple, or it allows Apple to go into one of two ways. One way is that they stick with trying to have an extremely thin phone, and that is the future of the phone going forward, that we won't have anything that will be thicker than that because they proved that they can go that thin. Or they keep that one as a regular slab phone for people who want it that way, but they also use this to test out a foldable iPhone for the future. So just imagine if you had a phone that is thin, if they can get it down just a little bit thinner because they can split the battery into two cases and then fold it together, now you have a really, really smooth, clean, crispy device. And I think that that's where Apple is heading. But for one reason, I don't think that Apple will do I'm torn because I don't know if Apple will do a foldable, even though there are rumors that they will do a foldable. I'm just of the belief that if you do a foldable, what happens with the iPad mini? Because if you see the Z Fold 7, that's a big enough screen. If you're gonna give people an iPhone to have it, a foldable device, does that kill the iPad mini product line? I'm curious what you guys think, but that's just my thoughts on the iPhone Air and why I think it's Apple's most important product. If you made this far in the video, I appreciate you, man. I'm trying to reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you are not subscribed and you waited to the end of this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, man, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you.